Can you talk a little bit about where Nebinger stands for the future?
Well, I mean, I don't know other than what you know.
At the time of this interview, Principal of George W. Nebinger School, Ralph Burnley, knew the possibility of Nebinger closing its doors forever existed.
The district was out to talk to parents on back to school night, and we had some little small question and answer sessions, and right now nothing's been decided. The district is under a lot of pressure, I know, from the state to close some schools in an effort to save money, and we'll see where it ends up. Right now my focus is way away from that. No matter what happens, you're always going to have kids. You're always going to have a challenge to make certain that you provide a decent education for kids. And that's what I'm basically telling staff, and that's what I'm telling the community. And when and if the district decides to close the building, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
In a March 2011 draft list, the School District of Philadelphia noted Nebinger was underutilized and that the 86-year-old building wasn't in the best of conditions. But this past November, after a tumultuous summer of administrative changes, the district announced it would only close 9 schools. Nebinger's absence from the list came as a sigh of relief to the growing number of people outside of the school walls who had begun to invest time into its well-being. Before anyone caught wind of Nebinger's possible closing, Burnley began to reach out to community members to build connections. He invited them to a school recital, which is when Rebecca Phelan realized there was more to Nebinger than a concrete exterior.
I saw that there was a Chinese program. I was like, nobody knows that anything good is happening here. Like, everybody thinks it looks like a fortress. Somebody has to tell them, like, oh, you didn't realize this, but there is a music program there. You know, there is a gifted program. Nobody thinks that there's a gifted program there.
Though Phelan's kids aren't of school age yet, she and a group of Bella Vista and Queen Village residents needed Nebinger to be a viable option for their kids if they decided to stay in Philadelphia or send them to a public school. They created the Friends of Nebinger, which will try to fundraise for projects such as the new playground or more technologies in each classroom.
We don't want to have to move because the schools aren't good enough. So we wanted to find out what the school was really like, and if we needed to help it improve.
While Phelan said test scores are important, so are programs like music and art, which have become rarities in schools. Not only does Nebinger have a music program, but head keyboardist and vocal general music teacher Aaron Hoke encourages students to seek outside instruction.
There are several of our students that take private lessons at the settlement school and are involved with some small classes. We try to get as many kids as possible to reinforce what they're learning here in school through use of private teachers and such. And students that take that extra step and take private lessons, you can really tell they really seem to set themselves apart with their abilities.
But whether students take private lessons or not, Hoke and other teachers said an extra music class can add to the normal classroom environment.
I think that sometimes it can be music class that gets kids in the right frame of mind to be successful in the regular ed classroom. I think there's a large number of kids who have a facility for music, and it can give them the confidence that they need to know they can be successful and to excel in subsequently other areas.
Nebinger doesn't have an art program, but Hoke partnered with the nearby Fleischer Art Memorial to keep the arts alive for students.
I instigated a collaboration with the Fleischer Art Memorial, through which they are actually sending us a guest art teacher that's going to work with one of our classes 2 times a week for 90 minutes for this semester.
As Hoke nurtures the music program, Deborah Fisher continues to watch Nebinger's unique autistic support program grow.
We started out with just 1 classroom, and I started out with 3 kids. And at this point, we have 4 classrooms, and usually we're full. What's really nice about Nebinger is the continuum. Sometimes, you know, at one school, because there's a limited amount of room, might just have a K-2 autistic support class, and then those children at grade 3 have to go to another school, which might only be available for, you know, another 3 years, and then they have to go to another school. Here, we mirror the regular ed as far as K-8. So these children can stay here for 9 of their educational years.
Consistency at Nebinger goes beyond the autistic classrooms, too. Fourth grade teacher Megan Conley uses an educational method called looping, in which the instructor has the same class for multiple years.
I was asked by our old principal, Mrs. Phillips, to move up to third grade with them from second to third. Third grade starts the PSSA testing, and my kids had been doing very well developmentally and grade-wise. Reading levels were high, so they thought if I continued with them, that would equate to good scores on the PSSA test. The parents understand this system, and a lot of them, I know if I send home rules for homework, if they got 3 strikes, they'll make them double the rules.
Teachers at Nebinger try to connect home life to school life as much as possible. Lee Nguyen often uses technology in her classroom, where she has 32 Macs for students to use.
They love coming up here. They get excited every time they come up here. They're able to go and do things that they want, see things that they're familiar with, that they recognize at home. And that's really something that helps them to learn. Everything is technology driven. So having the children exposed to it really just helps out so that they can progress in their education.
Progress continues on the 4th floor of Nebinger, where a federally funded grant is facilitating the reconstruction of 4 classrooms. 3 of the classrooms will be smart rooms fully equipped with Prometheum boards, while the 4th will be a carpeted science lab. With a handful of community partnerships, including Mother Bethel Church's adoption of Nebinger, Burnley is eager to get the word out about the school's progress, which includes the continued success of the Bright Futures preschool program.
You're going to give some validity to the fact that there are some good things going on here, not only in the autistic program, which the schools had a pretty good reputation for, but now you've seen the connections that Aaron Hoke has made with the music program, and then you've had a chance to meet, some of our really brilliant teachers like Miss Conley. So you get a chance to really publicize for us, or help me publicize all the good things.
And as the school continues to evolve, so does the surrounding neighborhood.
I think in the long run, it's a decent neighborhood. It's an uprising neighborhood, or a neighborhood that's on the rise, I guess I should say, from a lot of different standpoints. One, academically, we're putting that together, but then socially too. The community is kind of growing socially, where you have a group of affluent folks and some middle of the road folks, and then some people who are still kind of struggling a little bit. And it's kind of melding all that together. And it's actually a pretty nice journey.